So sometimes when I'm having conversations with people, they ask me things like, well, how did you heal yourself? Or how can I manifest something? And there's one word I usually give them, and that's the word surrender. Well, how do you do that? That's not very easy to explain. So let me tell you a little bit about how I surrender, and then I'll kind of explain a little bit about the whys, maybe. So whenever I healed myself, a lot of people try to envision themselves healed, and that's kind of hard to do. Or if you're manifesting something, you try to envision yourself with that thing, and it's kind of hard to do because you don't really know what that looks like, what that feels like. You can kind of imagine, but not fully. So whenever I healed myself, I was so tired of being myself that I just didn't want to be that person anymore. And so I set that intention that I'm done being that person, and then I let it go. Now, how do you let it go? I don't know how to say that, but it's just letting go. I was talking with somebody, and they kind of helped me understand that even a little more. And they said, well, by being present. So by being present, you're not looking for it. So let's say you're doing a meditation and you're like trying to imagine yourself healed. Or if you set an intention, I'm tired of being myself, or whatever it happens to be. And then you want to let it go. Okay, so then you're going through your meditation and you're like, okay, is this my moment? Is this my moment? Or, oh man, that just sucked. Why wasn't I focused? You're not in the present when those thoughts are going through your head. If you're sitting there looking for it, you're looking to the future. And if you're wondering like, oh, well, maybe my intention wasn't right, you're doubting yourself in your past. And so you're not being present. Being present is very difficult to explain even how to do too. But it really is just kind of letting go. So think about when you go to bed at night. What do? Now, some of you, yes, your mind may wander, but eventually your mind shuts off and you let go. You surrender, I guess, to your body and just go to sleep. So it's kind of that same process of surrendering. But I think the reason that a lot of us can't truly surrender is because you can't truly let go. You can't let go of what's going on right now. Either you can't let go of yourself, your identity, what you identify with, who you've become, this person, and maybe you're fearful of letting that go, and so you can't surrender it. I don't know if I surrender what might come. You're fearing what might come because you're so used to clinging on to yourself. You've done a good job of being yourself, and you don't want to be that person anymore, so let that person go. I know it sounds easy, but it is and it isn't, I guess. So just quit trying and let go. I guess another thing I can explain is sometimes when you're in your meditation, your mind's wandering and you're looking for your healing or your moment or something, and that doesn't happen to everybody, and sometimes it's kind of a gradual thing over time. But sometimes when you're looking for that big moment, sometimes it can happen if you truly surrender. And that's what happened to me, is I just truly surrendered. I was so tired of being that person, and I didn't care. I was like, whatever's out there for me, give it to me. I'm ready for it. And it came to me, and my healing came. And so you really have to truly be ready to let go of yourself, to surrender. And that may take a while. It may take a while of training in your meditations every day and training yourself to quit thinking these same thoughts. You don't have to search for it. It just kind of comes up. I've made a video about being present too, and that might kind of help along the same lines of the surrendering as being present. Another thing is that you maybe doubt that you really can be healed or you really can manifest $1 million. You're like, well, I've heard of other people doing it, but that's just coincidence, or it just can't happen to me. And that doubt, that lack, is going to prevent you from truly surrendering also. You're going to be having that in your mind. You're like, this isn't possible. I just don't think I can. That's not surrendering. Surrendering is truly letting go. Now, it's not being lazy and like, okay, come on. It's not that. It's just trusting, having faith, and letting go. and not living in lack and truly, really, really believing. And I think that's what it is you don't know what's on the other side. But trust me, when you do surrender and you do let go, it's amazing what's on the other side. So don't hold on to your stupid self that you're getting sick and tired of. Don't let those stupid thoughts in your head keep controlling you. Because when you surrender, those things on the other side of it are amazing. I've had this happen several times where sometimes I'm just in the middle of meditation and I'm just like, oh, this sucks. I'm not doing well. I'm not focused. And I'm just like, whatever. And I just give up on my meditation. And next thing I know, like a mystical experience happens, or I have some kind of download, or I feel like I've gotten some minor upgrade in my body. Something magical seems to happen in that moment where I'm just like, whoa. And that's kind of almost the point of surrender is think about when people surrender in war. They're like, I can't fight anymore. Okay, I give up. And it's not really giving up. It is, but it isn't. But you're tired of fighting and you're like, okay, whatever's to come will come. I heard, I believe it was Sadhguru was telling a story about, let's just say you're trapped inside of a prison. You've been captured and you're inside a prison or anywhere. You're just trapped inside somewhere and there's no way out. You are fearing for your life. Okay, you're in survival. That's understandable. You're in survival. Sometimes when these big things happen to us, our diseases or our circumstances in our life, and we hate them, we want to change them, that's almost kind of survival. You're like, I don't want this anymore. I want out of this. Same thing. You're in a prison or some kind of something, and you're like, oh my goodness, I could die. I've got to get out of here. But the only way out is through the sewer. And it's disgusting and it's mucky, but you know that on the other side there is freedom. It's total, complete freedom. So you're just going to sit in that prison cell and be like, okay, the guys are going to come anytime now and they're probably just going to kill me and torture me. Or are you going to take the risk and go through the disgusting sewer to see what's on the other side? Now, I'm not saying that surrendering is going to go bring you through the sewer, but you know that you're just like, okay, I've got to do this. This is the only way. And you basically kind of just, okay, surrender. You stop thinking so much about, oh, that's so gross. Oh, what if I don't? You just start getting all these thoughts in your head, and that's the same thing. Just suck it up and be like, okay, I'm going to go through there, and it's going to be beautiful on the other side. And like I said, it's not really that tough. The surrender part isn't really going through a sewer. But dealing with all the crap inside of you is kind of the same way, going through the sewer, and you're like, oh, I gotta go through all this stuff. Why? Just, if there's an easy way out, do it. That's the surrendering part. But like I said, it's kind of hard to explain how to do that. And really, surrendering is just coming to some realization inside yourself. And that's not something I can tell you how to do. It's, it's some circumstance in your life has been feeding you and the way you feel, your pain, your suffering, your emotions, whatever it is, you somehow come to some realization, and then I think you're able to surrender. And for me, I think that was the big point, is I was like, I'm done and I don't want this anymore. And I really didn't care what was on the other side. I just didn't want what I had at that moment. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And whatever was on the other side, great, I'll take it. And I was truly willing and able and wanting to let go and curious. I mean, what's on the other side? I've never heard of somebody saying they surrendered and it was horrible on the other side, or it was worse on the other side. I've never heard that. Now, maybe you surrender, something happens, and then you have more old stuff come up. That's normal. That's just another layer, I guess you could say, coming out. That's just you're dealing with. That's not the universe giving you something horrible. It's just you dealing with you and your emotions. So, quit trying so hard. Let go. Surrender. relax into it. I mean, that's something else that I've kind of done. Sometimes when I feel tense in my meditation, I just kind of imagine myself kind of melting into the ground. And even trying to tell myself, be present, be present, be present. Even sometimes focusing on my third eye just kind of puts my focus on something and not so much on my thoughts and myself. I mean, you could kind of almost like look inside yourself. Like I said, look at my video about being present, and I think that can kind of help you look inside yourself and be more present, and that can help you surrender more. So if you guys have any other advice on surrendering, I'd love that. Like I said, it's not an easy explanation of how to surrender, but that is truly the way you can get what you want in your life, to manifest wealth, health, abundance, whatever it is that you're seeking. Surrendering. I mean, you may or may not be religious, but even if you're not religious, this quote is really good in the Bible. It's something like, trust God with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. So that's truly what you're doing, is you're trusting that something will happen. You're trusting, you're having faith that this miracle can happen, that this thing can manifest in your life. And you're not trying to understand the how and the why and the when. I mean, do you understand even how, like, a little seed can have so much information in it to become a giant tree? How can 2 cells form into a baby that has all these living things in it? Like your liver and your heart and your blood and your brain. How is that possible? You're trying to understand that stuff, but you really can't. And how can your body heal a cut? What's that all about? I mean, these cells in your body have little brains of their own that go and attack it? How do they know that? We can't quite understand the way that everything in the universe works. You may have seen miracles in other people and don't understand it. Well, right there, that should be something like, wow, okay, these are amazing things. Miracles happening to people. Birth itself, life itself is a miracle when you think about it. So if those are miracles, how can you doubt and second guess and try to understand, well, how am I going to heal myself? How's this tumor going to go away? How am I going to walk? How's this pain going to go away? How am I going to manifest a house in Bali? Don't try to understand it. Just trust and surrender. Really, that's all there is to it. That's it.